Go. Oh, hello. Hello. Nice to see you. It's me, Lou. I'm in the car. Hooray. I'm in the car once again here on a Tuesday, a hot, humid Tuesday here in New York City. It's 88 degrees. It was a little warmer earlier. And I have the pleasure and the privilege to sit in the car by myself today, and most times, just hanging out in the car. How are things going with you? This weekend was Father's Day. Happy Father's Day belated to all the other fathers out there. I celebrated Father's Day by having a little barbecue get together in the backyard of the courtyard of the building. Hello to Eric Holden and Carla Ferrucci who are watching. Thank you for tuning in. It's always a delight to have people watch along with me. And Willow is also watching. That last name was confusing. But yeah, I'm here in the car, chilling by myself. I was thinking the barbecue, had a nice little barbecue. People came and enjoyed the meats and other things that were available. I made the cocktail I've been making a lot lately, the La Luna gin cocktail that you make with the fresh cucumber juice and Hendrick's gin, which is also already cucumber and rose hinted, and then a jalapeno simple syrup and lime juice, and it was popular. I didn't get any of it because I was too busy doing barbecuing things, but people seemed to enjoy it. They polished it off. It's a very refreshing drink, if you might imagine. Having a cocktail with the Hendrick's or the cucumber juice makes the drink very green. So it was good. This morning I didn't have to move the car because I had parked on a Wednesday spot last week, and but we move it into a Tuesday spot on Tuesdays so that we don't have to move it tomorrow. Even though tomorrow's moving is a lot less stressful, because for some reason the Wednesday people don't move their cars until the last minute. They don't wait in the cars until whatever. But it still fills me with anxiety to not be sitting in the car in case the dreaded ticket people come. And certainly there's been a wave of, I was going to say rash, both work, of people getting their cars booted here in the neighborhood. So I don't want to get my car booted because that's lame. Plus the way that the boot works, pardon me, is that they put the boot on your car and then they leave a little note on the car saying that you have like 2 hours to call and have them take it off, or you'll get another ticket and towed. And then you have to pay the towing fee, the ticket, and the boot removal fee. And they have to get that special kind of boot, or the special kind of towing that won't turn the wheel at all, because the new boots have those nails that stick in. So if you try to drive off with the boot on your car, you will just destroy your tire immediately, as well as also destroying your wheel well. But that hasn't happened to me yet. Knock on dash, because I moved my car. Being unemployed certainly helps. So hanging out, still unemployed, still doing stuff. I have been getting some voiceover work. I did do 2 VO jobs last week. The problem with doing independent voiceover work is being like, hey, now that I've done the work, how do I get paid? And surprisingly, people are often very quiet when it comes to responding to those emails. But I did finally get responses. So billing has happened. Famously, or infamously, in the past, I did a job for this ad agency out of Ohio that was doing a job for Orkin, and I was doing, what was totaling up to be like thousands of dollars of voiceover work. And I had done one part that I'd netted like, $2,000 of, doing all this stuff about like, carpenter ants are the worst and they're criminals and you don't want carpenter ants in your house. You should exterminate them. But, so I did all this work. I got paid for the first part and they're like, well, they want the second part. So we started doing the second part. And then like halfway through, I was like, okay, I don't want to do the rest of these until you pay me because this is a ton of work. And the guy was just like vanished. And I finally was like, what the fuck? And he was like, oh, sorry, things aren't working out so great for the ad agency. You're going to close the ad agency and I'm not going to pay you for your time. You can suck a dick. And in hindsight, I wish I had taken him to small claims court because it was $1,200. It was like, no, it was like closer to $2,000. But I didn't. So, an eternal regret. That's what I'll probably say on my deathbed. I'll be like, Orkin. I learned a lot about pests though and pest control. So that was worthwhile, the thing that I got out of it. What else happened? Let's see. I started playing Realm Royale. I don't know if you've heard of this. There's, this whole craze of video games right now called Battle Royale mode games, which is loosely based on the concept of the movie Battle Royale, which was based on a Japanese novel. That lady is wearing an attractive outfit. Which is basically the idea of 100 students, the movie Battle Royale and the book. Based 100 students of the worst performing class in Japan are put on an island where they have to fight to the death until one is left alive. So, battle to the death, only one can survive. And so there's a game. First there was a game called I think it was like DayZ or H1Z1, and those are sort of like survival but also with zombies and other shit. And then PlayerUnknown Battleground came out, and that's like it was a huge hit. Even though it was like beta and it was really buggy and had problems, but it was really popular. And then this game Fortnite came out, and Fortnite was originally more of like a game type that is called like Firefight or like Horde mode, where people use increasingly tough waves of things come out and you have to build these defenses. But then they made a Battle Royale mode, and the Battle Royale mode exploded because like Fortnite, the game, was like a $60, your standard $60 entry point video game that was like sort of fun. You build stuff, and it's a tower defense game, basically. Zombies appear, you have to kill them all, and then you get resources and you build forts to sort of funnel them through all this like torture and stuff. Then they make this Battle Royale game. It blows up like crazy because it's easier to learn and play than PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, or PUBG as it's called. But at the same time, it's cartoony, it's easy to parse, it's not real. It doesn't have like it has physics, but they're not as like PlayerUnknown Battleground is like you're a real person. It's like you shoot a bullet, the bullet drops over time and distance. I think PlayerUnknown Battleground, that's like it's like a regular shooting game like Call of Duty or whatever, and you have this world and you can drive around cars and whatever. Fortnite, you drop into this cartoony world, the cartoonier version. It's not first person, it's like that Lara Croft third person mode, where you're kind of floating around yourself unless you zoom in with the gun. So now it's a huge game, right? All my kids would play it all day and all night if they could. It's like Infinite Jest. They would do it until they would starve to death. So now, there's a lot of other people coming out with very similar games or game modes, and one of them is called Realm Royale, not Rem. Realm Royale. And it is like all the rest. right now it's 80 people at a time, and they all fly into the exact same concept of a thing that flies you over, and then you have to jump out and try to go to the part of the island you want to go to, except it's very early in the game, so they haven't developed all of the ways to like spend real money on garbage, which is how Fortnite makes its money now, because Fortnite, the game, was $60, and then they added this Battle Royale, and that's free. If you want the Fortnite, the original game, you can still buy it. I think it's less money now, but they're making all their money from people wanting to buy the digital garbage. Skins for your thing, for your dude, digital outfits, stuff I never spend any money on, unless you can get it for free, which is the opposite of spending money on it. So yes, my original statement is correct. So now Realm Royale is like that, except that you have a, hey, Matt Mo, how's it going? It's more of like a sword. You have like 6 classes you can pick. You can be a sorcerer, engineer, magician, thief, whatever. And then you can, you drive around in your, you have a horse that you can pop up. So it's got like all these elements from all these other games popping in. So you've got like mounts from Heroes of the Storm. You've got the engineer who can make a gun like Teoborn or whatever his name is from Overwatch. Hey, what's happening? Chuck is also watching. Yeah, so it's, and I just downloaded it on Steam. It's free, Realm Royale, if you want to play, and it's fun. I found it way easier to do than Fortnite, because Fortnite has this whole building component where you build defenses and walls and all this shit for, to block the enemies and protect yourself. Realm Royale doesn't have that, but you can fly, which is pretty good. Like, and do all kinds of other dumb stuff. Ride a horse, cast a spell, all kinds of stuff. So, just started messing around with that game, and it's fun. But, that's in between doing... Oh, I thought Chuck said, "Hello, brother," and I thought he was calling in from the holodeck of the Next Generation Star Trek. But, so yeah, doing that whenever I feel like I've earned a little fun time for myself after I've done my daily mandatory voiceover recording and job applications when appropriate. But, yeah, just chilling in the car while I wait and think about the next time I get to play Realm Royale. Oh boy, what fun. Yeah, the other video games, let's see. I've been playing, Super Mega Baseball 2 on Xbox. That's a lot of fun. I'm playing a season, and I played the season to, the playoffs. I made it to the playoffs. I won both my initial placements, and I made it to the world championship of this baseball game. And for the first time, I actually almost lost, and I have pushed it back to a 3-3 tie with a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th yesterday to avoid fiasco loss. It was quite upsetting, but I won, so I'm okay. So Chuck is asking for the details of Ace's assault over the weekend. For those who don't know, Ace, my older son, was mugged, not that far from where we live, but far enough, on Father's Day. Now, some might say karmically, because he was a complete D-bag to me on Father's Day, but such is a father's life. Anyway, Ace and his friend didn't want to hang around the barbecue. They didn't want to hang around with anybody, and they went skateboarding, and they hung out at the skate park too late, and the skate park is right next to some not so great projects, and there were a lot of people hanging around, and someone came up to him and tried to shake him down for money first, and was just like, yo, you rolled over my girlfriend's purse with your skateboard, you broke her phone, you need to pay for that. Anyone who has lived in the city knows that is a classic shakedown. It's bullshit. It's like you broke my glasses I'm blind without my glasses. You broke my glasses. You need to give me some money so I can buy a new pair of glasses. Or the, carrying around an empty bottle of vodka that you fill with water and then being like, oh, you bumped into me. You made me break my vodka bottle. You need to owe me some money. It's like a scam, right? So you make up this situation that the other person is like, what are you talking about? And they're on their defenses. So this guy told Ace that Ace fucked up his girlfriend's purse and that her iPhone was broken and he needed to pay for it. And from what I understand, Ace was like, I don't have any money, which is true. And the guy was like, oh, okay. All right. I believe you. And was like letting Ace go. And then his friend showed up. I almost forgot to plug this in. I don't want the phone to die. And then they were letting him go, but he didn't bail immediately. He wasn't like, oh shit, dip, like, which he should have been like, oh, you are not beating the shit out of me immediately and just mugging me. You're just trying to shake me down for money. I'm leaving. But what happened was Ace had a friend with him, another kid, and the kid came over to help Ace. And someone else, from what I understand, someone else intercepted that kid and just started wailing on him for no reason. Like just preemptively assaulting him to stop him from getting involved. And then while that was happening, the other person grabbed Ace and started punching Ace, but not like they were severely attacking this other kid. The other kid like ended up on the ground in the fetal position and like claims he broke a rib. I'm not sure. I don't know if that's true or has been confirmed. Ace just kind of got like punched in the head, but not like trying to knock him out, just trying to like fuck him up a little bit. And then they ran his pockets and took his phone. And the other kid got his skateboard taken, but not his phone. And then of course the disappointing thing is there were probably like 50 people in and around the area just watching it happen. There were no stand-up people who came. Now, the interesting thing here is that Ace had said hello to someone that he went to grade school with, who he was not friendly with, but they are acquaintances. Like, they know each other from grade school. And apparently this kid is like super well known in the hood. And this kid was seen talking to the people who assaulted Ace. Not that he had anything to do with it, but that this guy knows those dudes. And apparently this kid that Ace knew has another friend, is a cousin of one of Ace's better friends. So we're trying to pressure that family to like rat on whoever this dude is who stole Ace's phone. Whether or not that's going to happen is a different story. Now, the sucky part is that Ace's friend, the one who was beat up, is blaming Ace for everything. Like, you're the reason my skateboard was stolen. You're the reason I got my ass kicked. I was helping you. You're a pussy. I hate you. Like, all this other stuff. Of course, this is a transference of rage upon the person who actually did the assault that he has no repercussions against. And also, if he saw him again, would probably not be able to do anything because he is a scrawny, a very nice, little privileged white dude who lives, in Kensington, Brooklyn, which is a very nice and quiet neighborhood. And he was hanging out in the Vinegar Hill projects, and the denizens of said projects, maybe a little more aggressive than he's normally used to. And he probably would not have anything to say to the guy in his face if he did. Yeah, thanks, Matt. I'm hoping that we can figure out who did it as well. We have this like app on Ace's phone so we can tell where he is all the time. Because he's a teenager and he is frequently not telling the truth, as people who have teenagers might know. But these guys turned the phone on last night, and I was able to kind of pinpoint the housing project that they live in, and I sent that information to the police. And we've got feelers out trying to see if anybody can get these guys to give the phone back or just, whatever. But I don't have a lot of faith in that. So, thankfully, a friend of ours, our friend Gwen, who has sat here in the car with me, had an old phone that she was willing to let Ace have or loan. It's an iPhone that the actual glass is separating from, so it's like it leaks light, but it works fine. And I had to go to T-Mobile today and get the SIM card. Now I will say, in T-Mobile's favor, T-Mobile, the guy at the T-Mobile store, when I told him the sob story, was like, "Oh, that sucks. Well, give this guy a new SIM card for this phone and just say that the other one was defective." So we didn't have to pay for it. So that was nice. Considering that I've got 21 more months to pay for that brand new iPhone 7 that Ace had. There you go. Ace knows full well the next phone that he gets is going to be a flip phone. I don't think, as Finn said, I don't think you can stream your games of Snake from the flip phones to Twitch. But, yeah, so. Now, some people were sort of bummed at me for seeming a bit callous from, my reaction. I mean, once I found out Ace was okay, which was, the first concern. And then I became upset about the phone being gone. Hello, Dinah. Greetings from New York City to Seattle. Yeah, so I was a little well, that's New York for you, I mean, he's Ace and all of his friends have lived a relatively threat-free life, which is a far cry from the New York I grew up in, where I was mugged multiple times, and also just assaulted randomly, just sort of picked to be the victim for some kids who had the day off and nothing to do. So, yeah, it's sort of like, for me, it was more of like I guess it was overdue, because, New York is a lot safer than it used to be, and you can go places that you would never go when I was a kid. But there's a lot of people here, and if you're just not paying attention, you can just vector with people who have nothing to do or have bad intentions pretty easily. Yeah. So, yeah, I used to have my head on a swivel all the time. Hello, Kelly Carter, calling from Florida, I believe, or watching from Florida. Yeah, I was just saying that, I don't know if you saw, Kelly, but my son was mugged over the weekend, and I was sort of talking about the, no, well, here's the thing. It's like, Ace, I can tell, Chuck is saying, I imagine you raised him, warning him about this. I have mentioned those stories, but, with a teenager, you can be like, hey, especially with Ace, because of his, attention issues, you can be like, and his defiance issues, and be like, hey, don't be down there. He'll be like, whatever. I mean, I was the same way. I was out doing graffiti at 2 a.m. on school nights when, I'm sure my parents would have been like, don't do that. Yeah, I mean, you grow up here thinking that the city is your playground and you feel safe doing stuff. And then you're just out late one night and you just happen to run into the wrong dudes. And that's, it's not like we live in a super dangerous area, but, sometimes the danger comes to your area and decides it just wants to fuck with somebody while it's here. But in this case, he was down there by the projects and happened to come on the radar of some guys who thought they'd shake down some easy white teen targets. But hopefully they will get caught. I mean, I have almost no hope that that's going to happen, but we're hoping that the police will get the information from the friends of friends who know the guys who stole the phone to get it back. I mean, I remember my cousin Jose, who lives in the Bronx, and he lived in a very reputable part of the Bronx, the Riverdale area. And he got mugged plenty. This is pre-phones, this is back when people were carrying Game Boys classics in their pockets instead of, $800 supercomputers that can communicate with the other side of the planet and have every, question that you ever wanted answered, but also plays Fortnite. Yeah. So, it's just, it's surprising that it doesn't happen more often. I mean, with the way that you can lock a phone these days, I don't know how lucrative stealing phones is. It doesn't seem to be like it's like that worth it, especially if the person locked it and then used like I Find My Phone to like extra lock it and put it into lost mode, which I was able to do, but only after I had to get a new ace on a new phone. And yeah, Apple has some dumb rigmarole that I had to jump through to get the phone working again, or to get the Apple ID updated and then shut down those old phones. But yeah, I just don't know how much it's worth to steal a phone. Certainly I remember at the beginning of the Tamagotchi, or not Tamagotchi, oh my god, Pokemon craze, that there was a video of that, or is it the height of the Pokemon craze? There's a video of some guy looking for a Pokemon outside of the Museum of Natural History at 2 o'clock in the morning. And that neighborhood, again, super nice neighborhood, very wealthy people live there. And this guy's he had two phones. He had a brand new Samsung Galaxy and his other phone. He was streaming with one and finding Pokemon with the other. And some dude you can see the guy come up from behind him and just boom, beat the shit out of him. And then you can hear the guy being like, no, not my phone. And then the guy, you see the phone running, and then you see the guy, because he stole the streaming phone, you can see the guy going expertly going through all the menus to reset the phone to manufacture anew, because it was unlocked. Now here's the other thing: is Ace his phone, because he forgets his own password so often and gets annoyed by it, that he disabled the password. So whoever these guys were, had full access to all his contacts, his Apple Store, his everything. So luckily, I have all purchases and app purchases locked, restrictions on the phone. But it's not a good feeling to know that someone else can be going through your shit, know where you live, all that stuff. But hopefully he will learn that lesson and not keep his phone unlocked in the future. Same goes for people who don't lock their computers. Well, I don't like locking my computer with a password because I like it to be unlocked for the thief who gets it when they steal it. Yep, a very painful lesson. Painful lesson for me, especially with the 21 months of paying for a brand new phone. I hope they enjoy that in the projects. It's going to be great. Now, the police said that the phones that get stolen, that they hear, either turn up in local delis, people selling phones, or sometimes they appear to make it all the way to the Middle East, and they just get stolen iPhones get sent there. Oh, what's Steve Corso is saying that he can relate because he grew up on 180th Street in the Bronx and lost count of how many times he had similar encounters. But maybe that's why you, Steve, you became a martial arts person, because it maybe was because of that. I don't know. I've been trying to encourage my older son to do a martial art. There's a jiu-jitsu place that just opened down here. I mean, because he is like when you grab his hand or his arm, it's like, oh, that's your bone. There's no muscle or meat either way. It's almost like a flat plane of bone with a skin covering. So I guess need to figure how to get him to be able to take care of himself, or at least just to break a hold, so that yeah. And he's saying like I said, very often the danger goes roaming. And so that time that I got beat up on 86th Street between Columbus and Amsterdam when I was like, I don't know, 4th or 5th grade, maybe 6th grade. I was coming from my private school where I was forced to wear a blazer and stuff, and the public schools had the day off. And, yeah, exactly. Yes, that is the roaming fee. But, yeah, I saw these guys see me, and I mean, I was like, oh shit. And I went into the comic book store that I went into, and, they all came in and they were like bullshitting, and I waited until like they were at the wrong side of the store and booked out the door and sprinted halfway down the block, and I stopped running and they stopped. They were right there next to me. And the humiliating part of that encounter was that they had the youngest member of their group just kept punching me in the face while they all laughed. And then a guy came and stopped them. It was the only way it would have stopped, because there were like 4 of them. Like, what was I going to do? And I couldn't run because every time I tried to speed up, they would grab my book bag. Good times, very specific memories. The weird part of that one is they actually followed me all the way to my apartment, even after this guy stopped them. And I ran a block. They all broke away from the guy who stopped them from beating me up, ran all the way to my apartment, and then tried to talk the doorman of my building into letting them into my building, into my apartment. I mean, I can't even imagine what was the purpose of that. Still to this day, I just never understood that. But yes, certainly happens with less frequency. And it's my friend Thurston, also calling from Seattle. Thurston and Dinah, you need to meet in person before Dinah moves to wherever she's moving next. I don't know when that's happening. And Thurston, you also need to contact Harsha. This is an important call. I'm forcing people to meet. Anyway, Thurston, you've joined me here at the end of the call. I'm going to be logging off as I'm over time. My story of my son's mugging has taken me over time. If this was the Bill Maher show, this would be the after part show that's on YouTube. But as it is, it's just time for me to get out of the car and go back up into my apartment and deal with my angry 9-year-old who, for some reason, is having a bad day. I don't know why, and I may never know why. Okay, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Kelly. You owe me a call-in one of these days. And thanks to Joe Garden for visiting. It's nice to all these people come and join me in the car. I wish you could all be in the car with me, and then we would all be miserable together. All right. Thanks for calling, everybody. I'll see you. And if you play video games with me, I'll see you online. Realm Royale. It's free.